apparently, as it says here, the Pope just released a guide to artificial intelligence. And shows here the viral Pope photo that had him dressed up like a gangster, which was fake. It was generated by either Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or some other AI image generator here. Poe has released a guidebook on AI ethics, and he partnered with Santa Clara's University Marcula Center for Applied Ethics to form the Institute for Technology, Ethics, and Culture. So they were just trying to promote a deeper thought on technology's impact on humanity. And it describes it as a Vatican-led AI ethics think tank. That's very interesting that the Vatican will have an interest in this type of thing. But I guess it was because of the the Pope picture.
Blah blah, the Pope has always had a large view of the world and humanity. Blah blah blah.
Father Brendan McGuire, a pastor and ITC advisor. I didn't think Catholics had pastors. They had priests, right? Anyways, so apparently Vatican was the one who convened this power to put them together. And it says the handbook doesn't focus on AI and machine learning. It covers other topics: encryption, tracking, and facial recognition technologies. And based on the text, it says that the AI race is actually the focus and the inspiration. In the opening chapter of the handbook, there's the Irish bishop, Paul Teehee. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Sorry. But apparently they wrote the opening that too. And the initiatives, they want the initiatives to be for the service of humanity, for good, human-centered, ethical by design, and open. So very humanistic terms there, which, from a secular viewpoint is a good thing in a sense, but from a biblical theological viewpoint, it's, all have sinned, and it should be a God-centered thing, but we'll read on. Let's just not get stuck here. How exactly do companies actually follow through with those human-centered and don't be evil promises? As it's trying to reference here, Google had the don't be evil promise, but they removed that slogan like a few years down the road when they got big. That was a very interesting time. And described the handbook as a fruit of unlikely cooperation. Catholic Church is aware that Silicon Valley could not be different from each other. So that kind of reminds me of when in Revelation the beast and the Whore of Babylon are together. But eventually the beast throws off the Whore of Babylon. That said, the existence of the ITEC could be a sign of the AI's real and potentially transformational staying power. After all, the Pope never published a 140-page guidebook on crypto. So people can see that AI and crypto are entirely different things. Now, I think crypto is still a very powerful thing. It is about money, after all. And Mammon is a so-called god or idol that rivals the god in the sense of morals. Many people worship money or Mammon. So I think crypto is still pretty big, but AI is definitely a game changer. And it says it isn't pretending that its handbook is a replacement for government regulation. Blah blah blah. And he repeats that guardrails are absolutely necessary for countries and governments to implement. Talking about regulations, laws and regulation for AI. He doesn't know whether the Pope has used ChatGPT at all. I mean, does the Pope even really have any access to technology? Like, a lot? Anyways. So there's that. Or we can look at the actual handbook now. And this is the actual handbook here. The Ethics in the Age of Disruptive Technologies, an operational roadmap. There's the Vatican, and that's the Jesuit symbol here, I think. I forgot what the IHS stands for, but here's the actual table of contents, word from Rome. Here's from the Vatican here. So it looks like the futurism article quotes this line. And I don't see any. Here's a direct reference to the Pope in the Vatican. It's a result of meetings and encounters, to use one of Pope Francis' favorite words, between the Vatican and the world of technology. Nothing about God or the Bible or anything, because it's for diverse nationalities, various cultures, and different faiths, and none. So we can learn how to build a better world for all. Very interesting wording there. Of course, it's gotta be ecumenical. That's what Rome does. And that's interesting that there's only that reference to the Vatican and Pope at the beginning. And here, there's no mention of the Pope or Vatican at all. Preface, all about ethics. Every social institution, blah blah blah. Looking at the table of contents, seems very nitty-gritty stuff, not actually like a philosophy. I mean, many companies use lots of tools from AI, machine learning, blah blah blah. It's just trying to say that this handbook is for all companies that have to do with technology somewhere, or customers. Good intentions, the handbook for good intentions are not enough. Blah blah. See, no mentions of any religious or anything. Just context. The ESG, environmental, social, and governance issues. That is a thing from BlackRock, which is like a credit score for companies, but it's called the ESG score, and it determines how much funding a company will get. That's interesting wording there. It doesn't really say anything about specific ethics right now. Practical solution. Handbook provides a step-by-step operationalization roadmap. Say that 5 times fast. This is accomplished through adoption of a technology ethics governance framework. Its implementation to a stakeholder ethical value focus responsible technology management system, RTMS, or to make it pronounceable, Artemis. So it's funny that the first thing I've not seen God or the Bible or anything, but the first other religious figure mentioned is Artemis, which is a pagan goddess of the hunt. I mean, it's just a acronym, but it's just funny. That's like the only other religious figure I've seen so far. I mean, it's kind of funny if this is actually a Roman Catholic document, or at least guided document. Definitions, optimization roadmap, technology ethics governance framework, Artemis. So it's just an overview. So there's an analogy of eyeglasses here. ITC can be thought of as an eye test, corrective lenses, and parts of this book can be thought of as an eye test to measure sight. Additionally, the responsible technology management system Artemis that we describe here is easy to rename, the Greek goddess of the hunt, who has keen eyesight which was necessary for her to pursue and achieve her aims. So it was intentional in a sense to name it after a pagan goddess of the hunt. That they just acknowledge that. I'm not saying they worship Artemis, but it's just funny that that's what they're referencing to, from a Catholic, supposedly Christian, documented thing, It's just another ESG again. Environmental social governance. The guiding principles. Respect for human dignity and rights. Okay, who defines the rights? It's gotta be the United Nations. Promote human well-being. Who defines well-being? Invest in humanity. Okay. Promote justice, access, diversity, equity, and inclusion. While that sounds good, there are many definitions where it can turn out to be bad. Recognize that Earth is for all life. Well, I thought it was just for humanity. But maintain accountability. Well, I can agree with that. Promote transparency and explainability. At least that's more it's more practical here. Blah blah blah. But current systems fail to account for all stakeholders. The stakeholders are just people that have a stake in their company or technology you're making or whatever that will affect them. Doesn't say anything about God being a stakeholder. Lack of commitment, lack of skills, knowledge, resources, blah blah. Failure to comprehensively assess risks. And risk assessment is hard for anything. Failure to stay the course. Yep, those things will definitely destroy any ethics. To positively frame it, include all stakeholders. Commit 100% to ethical culture. Develop strong ethical skills, knowledge, processes, and resources. Again, I get it's a good intention, but what is the ethics based on? Is it based on the Bible? It's based on the ESG score? Who defines ethics? Comprehensively assess risk. Stay the course and stick to the program. Just more charts on that thing. And we're gonna skip this. It's just some nitty-gritty stuff. If you're not, I'll link this in the description below. So lots of nitty-gritty practical stuff if you have like your own corporation and business. I mean, I'm not saying it's totally useless, but for a supposedly religious-led Pope handbook, I don't see anything really religious, except for Artemis. Yep, I don't. Skip. Here's how they will judge the ethics here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lenses, which they use as tests. There's a rights test. There's a justice or fairness test. Utility test. Common good test. Virtue and character test. Again, who defines these things? Or what? Alright? I get that it's ecumenical, but there's no grounding for God or morality. So the Catholic Church is just playing the great compromiser. I'm not Catholic. This is Baptist memes, But if you're gonna say it's a Pope thing and has nothing to do with God, then why should we just not say that the Pope is the Antichrist or has Antichrist leading, trying to mingle with the world powers. Deliverables, more corporate stuff here. Let's just skip that. Employees, project management. Yeah, I went through this already once, and it's just mostly corporate stuff that to practically apply these things. Yeah, you can download this handbook, but it's just lots of boring reading. Here, it's a graduate theological union in Berkeley. Vatican's dicastery. And here's another. Okay, I don't know. But the first dude doesn't have any Vatican connections from his biography, that is. Very interesting. Okay, so, yeah, that's basically a document. Really disappointing if you really wanted to see like a Deus Vult Catholic take back the Holy Land type of stuff. You will not find it here. It does, the Jesuits, they're always accused of being liberal, even by Catholics themselves, so it does sound like it's a bit on that side. But yeah, so we'll end that for the document here. If the Pope or the Vatican has a handbook for disruptive technologies, or AI, or whatever, and it's not religious or godly or biblical at all, then let's make one. This is the Biblical Ethics for Disruptive Technologies. It's not meant to be a comprehensive handbook, but it is a lot of principles that are biblically based. So the foundation of ethics is the scriptures, the King James Bible. 2 Timothy 3:16, all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. Being ethical is ultimately just being righteous. And scripture was given an inspiration of God for that purpose. The next principle we have is the greatest commandments in the Bible, which is the so-called golden rule. But there's a higher rule than that. That is, as Jesus says, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and all thy mind. And artificial intelligence is about, at least artificially, a mind. Is there a way for AI to love God? Maybe not, but you should keep that in mind. The second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So we should keep in mind other people when dealing with disruptive technologies. But specifically here, thou shalt love thy neighbor. This are the people close to you. It's not just some abstract concept of the world or humanity. Sometimes it says here it's the neighbor. Like, some people want to do the best for the world by sacrificing their neighbor. Well, Jesus specifically says the neighbor, the people that are close to you. You aren't just a stranger that is gonna just leave your local area alone. And those two commandments are reflected in the larger Ten Commandments. In Exodus 20, it says, God spake all these words, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything, as in heaven, earth, or water. So, artificial intelligence is a lot like images, because they're robots. Well, they could be put in a robot, but like they can act human-like, so it's like an image of a human. You should not bow yourself to them nor serve them. So remember that you are to design AI that is not to be bowed down or to be served. The AI is just a tool that serves humanity and ultimately God. You should have that in mind. And there's the rest of the Ten Commandments here. And this part, thou shalt not kill. Probably best to have no artificial intelligence able to kill any humans intentionally or accidentally. Of course, that doesn't really apply for the death penalty or war, but it's best if the AI is not the one doing the killing, because that can go really bad. So that's the Ten Commandments, classic. And we know that technology is about knowledge, about wisdom. It's like science, it's science applied as technology. And so some verses on knowledge and understanding would be useful here. And it says here, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. If we want to make an understanding AI, it must have the knowledge of the holy. But if you want also understanding, you must also have the knowledge of the holy. And Daniel 12:4 says, "O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end." And as many think, we are near the end times. The book is interesting. It could prophetically be the Bible. It's only been in this recent hundreds of years we have a complete Bible. In the 1800s, is it was when the Apocrypha was completely removed from the Bible, and that gave us the 66 books. That could prophetically be how the book was unsealed. Anyways, in that time, now in this time, many shall run to and fro, and we know that travel around the earth is really fast. Like I can take a plane right now and get to the other side of the world in 24 hours or so. And knowledge shall be increased. So does that include knowledge of the holy? Of course. Because now we have the full Bible, we have the knowledge of the holy. And as we know, the technology has increased a lot, and we have the internet now. So knowledge has increased. But then that segues to the next passage here. Now, as touching things offered to idols, or the images we were talking about, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. So, as Christians, as Bible believers, we all have knowledge. The knowledge of God, it says here. If any man love God, the same is known of him. So, the God is the Holy One. So, to love God to love God is the highest commandment. With this in mind, as concerning those eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in this world, and there is none other God but one. So ChatGPT or whatever artificial intelligence that is coming, it's nothing in this world. God will always be the omniscient one, the omnipotent one. But to unbelievers, they will not understand that. Because we know God, well, now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit is, there is liberty. We are free as when we have the Spirit. With that comes this: all things are lawful unto me. We can do anything. But all things are not expedient. Not everything that we can do is good for us. It says here, I will not be brought under the power of any. So usually this verse is applied to drugs or whatever. Drugs are just things, they're substances, or even alcohol. What makes them bad is they bring you under their power. Well, to apply this to these technologies, we should not be brought under the power of any technology. Technology is our tool. Not we shouldn't serve technology. Like even social media is addictive, or even video games or whatever, not just artificial intelligence. A lot of people serve social media. A lot of people serve video games. A lot of people serve YouTube by watching, We should not give up our power to all those things. And you should design technology with that in mind. Take heed, therefore, the enemies, this liberty of yours becomes a stumbling block to them that are weak. So keep in mind those that are weak to the technology. As I said, technology has power. Social media has power. Video games have power, and artificial intelligence has power. So you shouldn't use artificial intelligence to become a stumbling block. You shouldn't make technology that becomes a stumbling block. And lastly, as free, not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, was the servants of God. So you should not have any malicious intent with your freedom. We can do anything, but remember you are serving God. And there's a lot of maliciousness in the world, like in crypto. Some people they pumped up the prices like a pyramid scheme, and then they withdraw. That's a malicious act. So artificial intelligence could be that too. So you must keep that design to remove maliciousness or negate it. And in the future, the beast, the antichrist, going back to all our principles of idols and power, it says here, and he, the antichrist, had power to give life unto the image of the beast. So the beast, or the antichrist, has his own image. He broke the Ten Commandments, and he had the power to give life. So since the antichrist is coming in the future, not today, because the man of sin will only appear after the rapture, after the day of Christ, then that means all the artificial intelligence that we will make before the end will not have life. Or at least that it doesn't at least that's what it seems to imply, If because it has to be special if the Antichrist did his own thing compared to what was before, you know. That means the artificial intelligence before he had the power to give life unto the image was not as good. But we'll see the difference here. It says here that the image of the beast should both speak. Well, ChatGPT speaks, Alexa speaks, Siri speaks, But what they do not have is and cause as many that would not worship the beast should be killed. Remember the Ten Commandments says not to kill, and this image is able to kill and to cause. So right now we have these things called autonomous AI agents that can do things. They just cause things. I mean, they're not sentient. They're still doing, program stuff, but they're able to cause things. Right now, autonomous AI agents cannot kill in the sense that they don't have the tools to kill someone, like Terminator, robot squads. But that's the difference between these AI intelligence that we have right now that's being used and the AI that the beast, the Antichrist, will have is that he can cause to kill. So, going all the way back, if we follow all these instructions and principles, then as long as we are here, not raptured, the artificial intelligence that we design will not have the ability to kill or to cause things. But already we have an idol or image of the beast that can speak. So that one's already inevitable since we already have a speaking AI. Well, might be too late right now, but we know that the military is not going to give up the ability to kill people to AI. At least not yet. At least openly. Just drones shooting up any bombings. A human is still what most people prefer. Most militaries prefer, if not all of them, to actually pull the trigger. So that's good for now. So yeah, that's our replacement. Well, just if that helped you anyway, or you like that, subscribe and all that. Peace.